their duties and resume services, because services are definitely taking a hit. Dramatic visuals here. Meanwhile, the protesters have toppled down the barricades and the police have lathi charged upon the protesters here and are getting after them and are, chasing them away from marching on to the health minister's office in Kolkata here in Salt Lake area. As you can see, there's also a tussle that is going on with the protesters and the policemen here, and they are detaining these protesters, ABVP protesters, from the protest site right now. While, this was a protest that went completely hostile and violent, doctors have maintained peaceful protests, and other student groups of colleges have also still maintained peaceful mediums of protest. However, that is not the scene that was here. There is an ABVP protester here who has sat down, and she is sitting here and she is still protesting on the site right here. She's quite angry, and she's saying that because of the Kolkata police, what she is blaming onto is the Kolkata police, that because of them, that this is the situation right now, that they're not even being allowed to protest for a cause. And the only question that she has right now from the police is that she is right here and she will remain here fighting for this cause until and unless there is some sort of a concrete solution in terms of justice.
Right, Tanishka, thank you for joining us as the scuffle, the struggle between the ABVP and the police continues in Kolkata. At this moment, in fact, what you can see on these visuals where the BJP and its student wing upping the ante. It's raining there in Kolkata. Tanushka, if you're still with me and if I can quickly come back to you, protest after protest, citizens protest, political protest, Mamata Banerjee clearly is on the back foot.
That's exactly what is the case here. I mean, just after the incident that happened at RG Medical Hospital, Mamata Banerjee did take out a protest rally herself, demanding for capital punishment. However, ever since then, there has been somewhat of a silence from the West Bengal government on part of the student movement or the resident doctors movement as well, that they are asking for justice at this point. There are more police vehicles coming onto this protest site right here, and the politics that is continuing remains onto the fact that on one hand, yes, Kolkata police has formed a special investigation team to probe into the financial irregularities that happened at RG Medical Hospital ever since January 2021, when the hospital was still under the charge of the former principal of the medical college, Sandeep Ghosh. We must remember that Sandeep Ghosh is in his 5th day of interrogation by the Central Bureau of Investigation. The woman who was sitting right here protesting has been detained by Kolkata Women Police Force and is being dragged, now taken, they've lifted her up and they're taking her away. These are the visuals that are coming from Kolkata in this protest by the BJP student wing. So on one hand, politicization of the matter definitely continues. However, strict guidelines have come down from the Supreme Court, which does make the case stronger and has taken an interesting turn as well. And what we are also looking forward to at this point is the polygraph test that the court gave permission for to the Central Bureau of Investigation to conduct today onto the prime accused, Sanjay Roy. Remember, Sanjay Roy is the only person who has been arrested by Kolkata police in this murder and rape case, and this lie detector test will help the case forward in the sense that because the parents of the deceased have claimed and alleged that they believe that this is not the doing of one person, that there is more than one person involved, which is why the lie detector test comes into play. And to understand whether or not the interrogations that the prime accused Sanjay Roy is under are true or false. Rain continues on in Kolkata every single day, but police and student body protests, also continue side by side in Kolkata. The city of joy is currently has been boiling over in rage for the past 10 days, ever since the rape and murder case happened at RG Kaur Medical Hospital with the 31-year-old young trainee doctor.
Right. In fact, a lot of information coming in at this moment as we stay on these visuals of the protest of the ABVP in Kolkata, where you saw people being picked up by the police trying to defuse the situation there, where the ABVP wanted to, in fact, go across and go ahead to the health ministry there. In fact, what we'll try and do, we'll just put out this letter. This is important information which is coming in at this moment. Where the Resident Doctors Association, this is being in fact been posted by the news agency ANI. RML has said that they are concluding their strike, and they have said that decision comes in the light of the government acceptance of all critical demands put forward by residents of India. That's a very important, in fact, development. Remember, the Supreme Court had also asked the doctors to go back. Let me bring in my colleague Saurabh Gupta at this moment as these protests continue. Look what is happening. In fact, the police now trying to chase down and arrest, detain the ABVP protesters, those who are there, in fact. And you can see the situation, how it suddenly came to a boil. Saurabh, it's raining, but the situation is quite heated up on the streets of Kolkata.
You know, obviously this is something that we are seeing, and the protesters are, of course, are in a confrontational situation with the police, and they, of course, are being explained to by the police that, you know, you cannot cross the barricades. Now, there are several protests taking place, peaceful protests, of course, the police also managing. We've been going to several of these protests, but this one is a political protest, and of course, there was an attempt by the ABVP supporters to try and break down the barricades. And following which the police responded, because clearly this was not remaining peaceful, as the ABVP tried to break down the barricades. Now, of course, where the police say that, then, you know, if they're protesting like this, there's no police action. But when, of course, you know, there's violence, or when they're trying to break down the barricades, that time, of course, the police are acting. Now, here you can see, of course, ABVP supporters have blocked the road and, of course, are protesting. But the police, of course, removing them from the road at this point. But this is, of course, something that's happening as we speak in Salt Lake. One flank of this road has been completely blocked, and the other flank, of course, you can see riot control police ensuring that they remain confined to this flank of the road. And earlier, of course, the protest was taking place a short distance away from here, where, of course, initially it was peaceful, because we did see some of the ABVP supporters trying to stop some of the other supporters from, targeting the police barricades that have been set up. But some of them, of course, tried to break the barricades, and, of course, then the police have pushed them back. And now, of course, the police again, using some amount of force to push them back. But these, of course, are political protests. These are not citizens' protests, which are usually more peaceful and more disciplined and less unruly. So obviously, at this point, political protests also taking place as far as this incident is concerned. There's been a lot of anger, rightfully so, against what has happened at RG Kaur. A lot of citizens have come out and protested. A lot of citizens have raised their voice against what has happened. Now, of course, the police pushing back the ABVP supporters to the place where they started, which is the Salt Lake City Center. And these are live pictures from Salt Lake in Kolkata on your screens, where you see the police trying to push away the ABVP supporters who are here. And this, of course, is right here in Kolkata's Salt Lake area, near the city center, as the police push back the ABVP supporters. And of course, some amount of pushing and shoving is often seen. Here, of course, it started with the ABVP supporters trying to break down barricades. Some of the other ABVP, others ABVP supporters also tried to stop.
Right.